Hi and welcome to my channel. I'm Peas and today I'm going to be talking about the game Little Nightmares, but the enhanced version. This video is mainly going to focus on the game itself and how it plays, but I'll also touch a little on what the enhanced edition brings to the table. Now I'm going to go back a bit here. My journey into games like Little Nightmares really began back in 2010 when Limbo instantly became a favourite of mine. Its ambiguous, dreamlike aesthetic and that trial and error 2D puzzle platformer style hit me in a way I hadn't experienced before. Something about it just hit right, visually, audibly, and narratively. It told a story without screaming it into your stupid face, and I couldn't get enough. It was also a brilliant couch play game, taking it in turns with a friend, a family member, or even a sworn nemesis to see who could get furthest before being abruptly and hilariously killed from a fall or a spider stab. Normally, games like this would have driven me up the f***ing wall, and I'd have thrown down the controller and deleted the game from my console long before the end credits, but Limbo hooked me so deeply that I just had to keep going. Despite its simplicity, it captured my attention way more than most games had up to that point. Even after completion, I went back to it a few times just to get another hit of the feels it gave me, and then, as we do with everything, I moved on. I didn't think another game would grab me in quite the same way until Inside was released in 2016, made by the same team behind Limbo. It didn't dig into my memory quite as deeply, but I remember it being smoother and more polished and a little less creepy in its storytelling. Now, if memory serves me correctly, and it hardly ever does, I played the entire thing in one sitting and I loved every minute of it. Then, in 2017, the Little Nightmares demo appeared on my Xbox. I'd already seen a few clips floating around YouTube, so I gave it a go and it grabbed me by the eyeballs immediately. Even though it was made by a completely different studio and had no connection to Limbo or Inside at all, it still managed to pull me right back into similar emotional spaces that those games had created, and beyond. Little Nightmares Enhanced Edition, released at the tail end of 2025, is pretty much the same game that was released in 2017, just cleaned up and made to look much better on modern devices. All the stealthy sneaking, puzzle solving, and dodging fucked up hungry adults is still there, but the environment now looks sharper and even more atmospheric thanks to clearer textures, realistic reflections on shiny surfaces, denser fog and lighting, random little particles floating around, more water pouring around the place too, and a smooth 60 frames per second feel. Makes it all silky and buttery. But that's enough of the boring stuff. What is the game all about? You play as a character called Six, a small but hungry girl in a yellow raincoat who wakes aboard the Moor, a massive underwater vessel thing filled with gigantic, twisted, monstrous inhabitants. Essentially armed with just a lighter, Six sneaks through set pieces such as the prison and the kitchen, evading killer leeches, the freakishly long-armed janitor, and other twisted, nightmarish figures. As she moves deeper into the Moor, Six suffers bouts of overwhelming hunger that push her towards increasingly disturbing choices, such as eating a gnome's face. The story unfolds without any dialogue, relying on visual storytelling as you try to piece together what the Moor is, who these f***ed up people or monsters are, and what Six must become to survive. I bloody love this game. Everything about it. At its core, it's a straightforward enough game. You move through a series of rooms, solve a few puzzles, do some basic and occasionally infuriating pixel-perfect jumps, and try to figure out how to escape whatever place you've wandered into. And like the game Limbo, you're gonna die. A lot. Half the time you're using 6 as a guinea pig just to see what kills you and what doesn't. The respawn points are fairly forgiving, but when you hit a section that keeps killing you over and over and over, it can absolutely test your bloody patience. Oh, what the why did he duck? Just randomly duck down. Why? Well, I don't think we're gonna make it. Let's try and jump anyway. Hey! Oh! No! What keeps you going though is the story. And the thing is, the game barely tells you anything outright. There's no dialogue, no cutscenes clearly explaining the lore, no big exposition dump. Instead, the story is something you kind of feel your way through. It's mysterious, ambiguous, and unsettling in a way that makes you constantly question what the more actually is, who these creatures are, and why 6 is even here in the first place. Every room gives you a little piece of the puzzle, but never the full picture, and that's what makes the game so damn captivating. You're always leaning forward, trying to understand this world that clearly has rules, just not ones it's willing to explain to you. The game is split into a series of very distinct levels, each with its own mood, visual style, and overall threat. You wake in the prison, which sets the tone with its cold metal corridors and oversized cages, immediately making 6 look tiny and out of place. From there on, every new area shifts the atmosphere in a different direction. Some become increasingly claustrophobic, others loud and chaotic, and some strangely and darkly elegant. Each level also introduces a different presence or warped being that shapes how you move through that space. One area might have you creeping quietly around something that hunts with long, outstretched arms, attracted by sound, while another throws you into a frantic chase to a kitchen or dining hall that feels like it's collapsing around you. Later sections slow everything down again, trading chaos for a quieter, more slow burn tension. Every level has its own personality, its own rhythm, and its own way of making you feel small inside this enormous, hostile and grotesque world. The graphics and atmosphere are absolutely outstanding. The mysterious moor feels alive in the worst possible way. The art style uses soft, clay-like textures and uncannily oversized environments that make 6 look constantly tiny and vulnerable. Everything is muted and grimy, greys, browns, greens, so even the quiet and less stressful sections feel heavy and uncomfortable. The world looks familiar, but just distorted enough to feel wrong. The use of lighting is a standout point for the game. Dim lamps, long shadows, flickering bulbs. You find yourself holding your breath and waiting for something to creep out of the shadows. Your trusty lighter, although gives a little relief, in some rooms it merely stretches out the already foreboding shadows. It's psychological horror done right. The soundtrack for Little Nightmares is genuinely incredible. Quiet, eerie, and always lurking in the background. Tobias Lilja builds the soundtrack from ambient drones, warped music box tones, and distorted instruments, creating something that feels like the perfect background to your own personal nightmare. It shifts with each threat that you face, and the main theme is stunning. Go take your shoes off and hit the streets blasting it from your mobile device. Watch the goosebumps grow on strangers. Overall, in particular, the enhanced edition feels noticeably smoother than the original. The controls are a little tighter, 6 responds faster, and she no longer slips around like she's been greased up. In a game where timing is key, every jump, every slide, every desperate dash, that extra precision makes a massive difference. But make no mistake, you are still going to die. Even with the polished visuals and improved movement, your first playthrough is still going to involve sacrificing 6 just to figure out what is going to kill you and what you can or can't jump onto. And even if you've played Little Nightmares before, frustration is part of the experience. You'll grip your controller hard, scream threats at the screen, maybe feel something in your wrist or your ribs crack with sheer rage. But you'll keep going, because Little Nightmares has that strange magnetic pull that makes you want to push through the madness, just to learn more about the situation that 6 is in. What makes it all worth it is how the game feels. Little Nightmares took the groundwork laid by Limbo and Inside and pushed it into something darker, stranger, and far more emotionally charged. It's simple, bloody frustrating, beautiful, disgusting, and completely unforgettable. It crawls under your skin in a way that feels like a childhood nightmare you half remember, nostalgic fear, the kind that lingers long after you've put the controller down. It's the sort of dream you're not entirely sure that you want to wake up from. For me, Little Nightmares Enhanced Edition is an easy 8 out of 10, and one of the most atmospheric, unsettling little gems you can play. What do you think of this game? Let me know in the comments below. Feel free as well to also let me know what's the biggest crab you've ever seen. Thank you so much for spending time with me here, and I genuinely mean that. I really do, thank you. Peace be with you, always. My daughter attempted to rescue a crab one day. She found it just to the side of a body of water and it didn't look too good. So she went to throw it into the water, but somehow managed to miss the water completely and throw it into the back of a boat, and it landed upside down. I think it died.